What you talking about, Walt Diddy? I'm going to explain why childhood traumas affect adults later in life. They always are going to resurface unless they are identified, healed, and you will regret not doing so. What could lead to anxiety, depression in adulthood? What catches up with us from our childhood that's affecting the way we live and how we treat others in our relationships? First, these happened to me. Emotional neglect. Were you neglected as a child? Did your parents' needs, grandparents, and everyone else seem to come first? Was people absent when you needed them the most? Whether it was to protect you, ma'am, from the creepy guy? Was it protect you, sir, from the bullies in the neighborhood? Was it to protect you from the institution that we call education in the school system? Was your parents at the PTA meetings and all of these things that showed that they cared so you would not be mistreated or left behind? This could be a factor, and it absolutely, positively happened to me. What is emotional neglect? Not having emotional needs consistently acknowledged or responded to by caregivers, whoever you were living with, that was your caregiver. Not having them consistently, not all the time, no one's perfect, but consistently acknowledged or responded to. Hey, figure it out. If you're Generation X like me, we are mentally challenged. Don't let them fool you. We are the latchkey kids, meaning we let ourselves in. The TV raised us. We made our own foods, while our parents did whatever said hell our parents did. Moving right along. What are the effects on the individual? Difficulty identifying or naming their own emotions. If you can't deal it and put a label on it and name what's going on with you, it's going to affect you adversely. So difficulty identifying or naming their own emotions. Chronic feelings of emptiness or numbness. A tendency to dismiss their own needs. We hear the saying, put yourself first, but it's not as easy as it seems, right? A lot of those that tell you that suffer from the dark triad: narcissism, psychopathy, lack of empathy. But those of us that's a little empathetic, it was hard until you figured and identified that these things happen to you. Effects on relationships. Struggles to ask for support. Fears of being too much or not enough. May gravitate toward partners who are similarly emotionally unavailable. We don't get what we want in life, we get what we are. So if you are emotionally needy, you're going to probably attract those that's going to take advantage of you and probably suffer from all three or at least one of the dark triad: psychopathy, narcissism, and or lack of empathy. Moving on to number 2. What could be number 2 on the list, ladies and gentlemen? Verbal abuse. Oh, wow, did I get this one? Chronic criticism or belittling. Why'd you do that? That was stupid. That was dumb. What were you thinking? You're smarter than that. I can't believe you done that. Hey, look what I did, huh? It's okay. You could have did better. The great Les Brown said it takes 17 other people to come correct the one negative statement someone casts a spell on you verbally. You're stupid. You need 17 other people to come tell you, wow, that was smart. Wow, that was great. How did you do that? So number 2 is verbal abuse, chronic criticism, or belittling. Does this sound like some of your childhood? Damn sure mine is my personal experience. Repeated exposure to harsh words, name calling. God, how many times did I hear dummy? Hey, dummy. Sarcasm or demeaning statements. What is the effects on an individual? These was their effects on me. Deep-seated shame. Harsh inner critic. Are you your own worst critic? Well, guess what? It's not hereditary. It was planted in you by the environment that you grew up in. Perfectionism. Or conversely, learned helplessness or low self-worth. Do you think you just create a self-worth? No. It was spoken on you. The power of life and death is in the tongue. Faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing and hearing. So every day, from a kid to the time you leave home, you're dumb, you're stupid, you can't do that. Why'd you do that? That is going to have an effect on you. Effects on the relationships that you may have with your significant other or those in your family. Hypersensitivity. Wow, I used to have that one. to perceive criticism, divisiveness, or withdrawal during conflicts, fight or flight, anyone? Difficulty trusting praise or kindness from others. When you suffer from these traumas and abuses growing up, you think as a late teen, adolescent, young adult, that people are giving you underhanded compliments because you're just not used to receiving them. Like, what the hell is this? Moving on to number 3. Number 3 on the list of trauma, scars that affect you late in life that you may take out on others, your friends, your families, your significant others, and just reinforces or puts you in the loop. Number 3 is witnessing DV. If you grew up Generation X, you've seen some DV. Now, DV is not just physical. What is this? Being present when one caregiver physically or emotionally abuses the other. Oh, it goes both ways. I've had family members where the female in the relationship, she treats the dude like a rag doll, verbally, lashes with her tongues, her negative statements, downing him. Or I've seen the opposite where it was physical. What is this? Mom and dad, they showed me a lot of this growing up. What are the effects on the individual? Chronic hyperarousal, sleep problems. God, did I have them growing up. Difficulty regulating anger or fear. Higher risk of anxiety disorders. No one is perfect, but these are the things that shaped us as kids, adolescents, teenagers, young adults, that is affecting you in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. That midlife crisis is not normal. It is you being back in the loop of all this that you grew up in without resolving the traumas, healing the traumas, identifying the traumas, and moving forward to a healthy life. What are our effects on the relationships? The relationships in your home, at work, your fraternity, your sorority, your lodge. Either reenacting the victim perpetrated dynamic or becoming overly passive intensive. Fear of abandonment. How many of us had that fear of abandonment? She's going to leave me. He's going to leave me. And you acted out. You had the faith to call forth those things that be not as though they were, but you did it negatively. And what we ask this universe for, somehow we receive. Negative things and forces and energy comes and moves faster than positivity. Positivity, the good things in life, we must be patient for, and they just take their time delivering sometimes. But we have that fear of abandonment, fear of intimacy, difficulty trusting safety in relationships. Difficulty trusting in a relationship will always destroy said relationship. We just have a few more to go through and we'll have a conversation. Number 4, wow. If you come from a single parent home and you're a guy, you probably more often than not felt this one. Parentification, role reversal. Were you a son husband? Did the son husband role ever happen to you? How about you, Bam? Do you have brothers and like, damn, he's a son husband, but you just couldn't tell him, you couldn't help him. I understand. We understand. What is this all about? Well, it happened to me, and perhaps it may have happened to you. Being forced to take on adult responsibilities, caring for siblings, managing household finances. A lot of guys I had to help pay the bills when I was 15. I had to pay the bills when I was 13. Nothing healthy about that. Or meeting a parent's emotional needs. Were you an emotional tampon, sir? Did you have to hear all the problems that you did not create? Did you get all the resentment? Damn, you look like your dad, but dad's gone. It didn't work out. Guess who has to hear all the drama? It happens. Our parents are human. A lot of them didn't even realize they were doing these things. Perhaps it happened to them and it's all a loop. These are the generational curses that we speak of. More often than not, our parents did not do these things to us intentionally. Our caregivers did not do this to us intentionally, but unfortunately it happened. What are the effects on relationships? What's the effect on the individual, first and foremost? Chronic guilt when not doing enough. difficulty relaxing, or plain resentment masked by over functioning. How could this affect your relationships? You're attracted to needy or dependent partners. You're not the needy one. You've tried to overcome, but you attract needy people when you don't identify and heal this trauma. So attracted to needy or dependent partners, enmeshed, in low tolerance for others. It could be emotional immaturity. Man, I suffered from that for a while. Eventual burnout and secret anger. We think in secret. We think we know everybody. No, you don't. The book from James Allen that I read had to do with telling us that we think in secret, right? The name of the book is As a Man Thinketh. And it's a great passage in there just reminding us all that we think in secret. You do not know what I'm thinking right now. You hear what I'm saying, but you have no idea what I'm thinking, and that information is confidential. Moving on to number 5 out of 7. Loss of a parent, death, divorce, or abandonment. If you come from Generation X, the boomers showed us Gen Xers, millennials, and zillennials how to get married and break up the home for all the selfish reasons in the world. If you're a Gen Xer, more often than not, you grew up, before you got out of high school, your parents were divorced. Everyone on my road, whether white, black, Puerto Rican, or Haitian, divorce ran prevalent. But here's what happens in that situation. Sudden or traumatic separation from a primary attached figure without adequate emotional processing. That is an amazing thing. It was tough. One day, me, my brother, my mother and father had dinner the next day. My daddy went to work and never came back again. I was 8 years old. High school graduation, he wasn't there. Football games, I'm all conference, wasn't there. I got married, was not there. We think as men that we could just suppress this, fight on, but it affected me. And it took probably about 10 years ago for me to go down my emotional timeline, and I wrote the book on that. I'll be sharing on Project Expertise, How to Heal Your Emotional Timeline. It was difficult. It caused me a lot of illnesses later in life, thyroid disease. I'm absolutely ripped right now, but in 2012, I weighed 135 pounds. The anxiety, all of the depression, the jitters, everything started getting to me. And if I did not go down memory lane and resolve these things, I would not be here with you today. How does that affect then the individual? This is how it affected me. It affected my core beliefs that people leave or relationships in. Unresolved grief that surfaces as depression and numbness. Wasn't a good feeling. Was not a good feeling on parents' night. Nobody there. We undefeated. Never forget it. 1993. Football game. We was the ish. The band was rocking. It was parents' night. I watched a lot of people, whether they were divorced or not, walked out with their parents. I walked out by myself. 1994, May 28, 1994. Graduation. I didn't think I was going to graduate. I was surprised when I made the cut, but I did. Threw our hats up in the air. No brother, no mother, no father. Nobody was there for me. I suppressed that for a lot of years, but it finally came back up. It always comes back up. So never let anyone tell you, especially the man, to be logical, blah, 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 blah. It does not happen. Our emotions, anxieties, depressions, and things of that nature affect the central nervous system. Moving on to number 6. Emotional invalidation, gaslighting, or dismissal. To this day, nobody in my family will admit and take ownership of how doo-doo things was growing up as a kid for me, but it's okay. It's okay because I did the work myself, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Here's how it happens to you. Being told that your feelings, memories, or perception are wrong, exaggerated, or just plain cray-cray is crazy. You're exaggerating. No, I didn't do that. But you know good and well it happened. I knew good and well it happened. And how does it affect an individual? Chronic self-doubt, difficulty making decisions, a habit of second-guessing one's own reality. It may lead to dependency on others, being a codependent, and you're sure to attract someone that suffers from all three or at least one of the dark triads, psychopathy, a sociopath, a narcissist, or someone that just has a lack of empathy for others. How would it affect a relationship? I know that's what you're wondering. Over explaining or justifying feelings, staying silent when hurt, prone to staying in a manipulative or abusive dynamic because they doubt their own judgment. You doubt your own judgment, you're going to doubt that she's a 304, but she loves me. No, she doesn't. He's seen other women. He's treated me badly, but no, he's not. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And moving on to number 7 on the list, the 7 things. These are 7 emotional traumas that will come back to haunt you as an adult. Physical punishment or harsh discipline. If your generation X like me, they thought the key to discipline was to pull out a belt and just beat you down. You did this, so come here, let me spank you, let me slap you, let me grab something, throw it at you. That's going to make you better. I'm afraid to tell you that it does not work. Frequent spankings, hitting, or punitive measures that induce fear rather than teaching. And these same people, you know how they, I'm going to tell you here's a red flag to somebody that's really hurt from this. Back in my day, we used to get a whooping, blah, blah. Trust me. They are in a dysfunctional relationship. They are dysfunctional, and they never resolve the fact that, damn, I did not deserve that. You could have just talked to me, man. It wasn't that bad. Think about that. And the harsh discipline, harsh words, stupid. The effects on the individual are anxiety, hypervigilance, and tendency to view the world as unsafe. It may even heighten your aggressiveness. You were beaten as a kid. Hell, you're going to pick up the first thing you see when the kids do something that they should not do, kids being kids, and you're doing it out of anger. How many people ever told you that, yep, before my daddy disciplined me with the belt, he went and chilled out, relaxed, took a long walk, and then came back and whooped my ass? It does not happen. It happened in pure anger. It wasn't to discipline you. It's because they were angry and they lashed out. Sorry. I can admit it now. Effects on a relationship, either fear or authority figures in conflict or repetition of aggressive patterns. Struggles with setting firm but gentle boundaries. And that's usually the woman. She's going to have struggles of boundaries because her mama used to slap her in the mouth and drag her around the house. And here's something to finish up number 7. For all of you that misquote this and don't know where it comes from, I'm going to help you. Have you ever heard the saying, spare the rod, spoil the child? Well, you think that's in the King James Version of the Bible. Let's find it in the Bible. Oh, guess what? It's not in the Bible. The phrase spare this rod, spoil the child is actually not in the Bible. It is a famous 17th century proverb from a poem by Samuel Butler. Not Jesus, not Jeremiah, not Daniel, not Malachi, not Jonah, not Paul, not John, not Mark, not Luke, not none of the homies. From somebody named Samuel Butler. However, it is paraphrased in the King James Version. Let me tell you what that really means. And it seems like your pastors and your biblical scholars would tell you this, but they won't. They won't because they were beaten too. In Proverbs 22:15, foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far away. What is the rod? Well, in historical and biblical context, the rod represents discipline and correction, not beatings. Discipline and correction. You did this, okay. What I need you to do now, you need to go out there and milk every goat. You go shave every sheep. You come back, is it raining? I'm sorry, you're going to go out there and do that. That is discipline and correction. You took something that was not yours. You're going to go give it back. Now you're going to go work for them to pay for it. That is discipline and correction. The rod in biblical terms mean discipline and correction. Proverbs 29 says this, the rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame. So once again, I know what you're wondering. You should be wondering what you're talking about, Walt Diddy. Well, I just gave you 7. That's right, 7 emotional traumas that happened to me. Perhaps some of them happened to you. And I promise you, if you do not walk down your emotional timeline. Go back in the past and do some shadow work. You will suffer. How do we heal these? You have to identify them, right? Number one, identify the things that happened that was beyond your control growing up. Number two, look in the mirror and forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for feeling guilty for something that you did not do. Forgive yourself for holding on to all this heavy load that's causing depression and anxiety. Number three, forgive those that did it to you. As I mentioned, I can remember when my mom was in her 30s. We don't know it all. Perhaps they were taught that that was the discipline that was needed. I just showed you the misquote from the Bible, spare the rod, spoil the child. It's a different time. I mean, unless it was absolutely extreme, abuse, right? But you got to forgive them. Forgive them because they knew not what they were doing. Number four, set an action plan. Set an action plan for when these feelings, emotions hit you. What are you going to do? How are you going to react? Tell yourself that they're not real. Tell yourself that you are a new person. As they like to say in biblical terms, you are born again. You're going to let the past go. You're going to shake it off and pack it under your feet. And number five, and this is the most important, start looking ahead to the future. If you're forgiving yourself, you're forgiving those that unknowingly did you wrong or did you wrong on purpose, start moving forward. Use it as a teaching tool to help others if you can, whether it's on YouTube like I'm doing right now or someone in your immediate family. But you got to move on. Once you've identified it, once you've forgiven yourself, once you've forgiven the perpetrators, for lack of a better term, it is time to set that action plan and move on. Gotta move on. But if you do not identify these things, they're going to come back to haunt you. There's not enough money that you can make to escape it. There's not enough status that you can attain to escape it. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. So remember these two things before I go. Number one, you have an emotional timeline that you can go back and find all of the traumas and all of the things that stained you, hurt you as a child, as an adolescent, as a teen, as a young adult, and you can identify them. You can forgive yourself. You can forgive those that place those pains and burdens upon you. You can set an action plan and you can move forward, or you will pay the consequences of not doing so. And number two, you've just been on Project Expertise, where I'm the project. I just gave you the expertise. All 7 of these traumas came from my personal experience. I promise you, had I not identified them, took accountability, forgave myself, and did everything I'm telling you, I would not be here with you, because in 2012, I was suffering from hyperthyroidism, 135 pounds, and I thought I was going to die, but I did not. So, you know the YouTube etiquette as I do. Like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell, or the notification bell just might hit you. Like the harsh reality that we have an emotional timeline. If you do not go back in the past and heal those old traumas and wounds, you will not have the vibrant, healthy future that you deserve. Hope you enjoy this one. Until the next one, I helped you out. At least I helped myself. I don't know these things.